Cloud. Muna, you want me to record to the cloud?
Yes, please.
She's only told me for like a year now what to do, and I don't ever. Oh, there's Heather.
Okay, great.
Okay.
We have Joseph. I don't.
Joseph.
Okay, I can't.
Roxy was unavailable.
Yeah. Oh, now I see. Okay.
Okay, I do believe that the gang is all here. If we would like to get started, Heather, do you have the agenda or do you want me to pull it up?
If you could pull it up, that would be great.
I think I might even have it.
Yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't come up on my email. I couldn't get the link, the meeting link, or the email that had the link and the agenda attached. Google was hungry, I guess. Hey, Bernice.
Hi.
Where is my share options? Why do I have a sign in up here?
For what?
For Zoom.
Yeah, mine has that tab on the top now all the time too. I don't know.
That is so odd. Isn't that typically where I go for my dots and to tell it to share? We don't need whiteboards and we don't need notes. Let me sign in. Maybe it needs me to sign in.
I have a share thing. I don't have a sign in. So
can you share the agenda, please?
Yeah, give me a second I'm gonna have to connect and then.
Did you do a new agenda for this meeting or was it the same as the June 26th meeting?
It is the same.
Okay.
Although I think we have one thing to add to it.
All right. I've got that now.
Okay, stop Zoom.
I've got it up, Andy. You can let
Great,
it go.
thank you.
Yeah.
I'll let you run with it and then I'll pop in. Although
I've lost the audio.
You lost your audio? We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Oh, I'll try and text her and just say maybe she should just do without the video.
I've lost the audio. Hello.
I will send her a chat, maybe. Where's my chat? Wow, I'm in trouble.
You'd think by now we'd have all the tricks.
Well, I should never be the host. Let's just make that really clear right now.
Bernice, can you hear us? I sent her something, but she might not be able to see it because she's.
I'll text her. I don't know if she'll.
I texted her.
You texted her? Okay.
Not show her video, but she might. I mean, it's probably going to pop up and go away.
Right.
I'm stopping the
video. She's talking to her cat.
I think she's talking to her phone.
All right, Heather, I'm gonna let you take over and I'm gonna see if I need to sign in order to share things. I mean, as host though, you would think I could share things. So I just don't know where my
It's weird. Okay.
option is.
The March meeting minutes. Do we have any additions, corrections to those minutes?
There it is, I found it.
Oh, you had it, Bernice. Perfect. Can you hear us now? Oh, she did. She muted her microphone too.
Hmm.
I'm gonna. It looks like, I don't know if it's doing, it seems like it does both at the same time for her.
You know, so before I pushed ask to unmute and that was helpful. So I'm gonna do that again.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Can you hear us, Bernice? Can you hear Bernice? Sounds like she's talking. Is she muted?
No, she's not muted. I don't know what's happening.
You might be leaving the meeting and trying to come back in.
Now she's muted. Okay. Let's hope that we can carry on and she can jump in with us. And Muna, if you can be texting her on the side, that'd be great.
I will do that.
Okay, any March meeting minutes, updates, changes, corrections from anyone? Welcome everyone who's here, by the way. Thanks for joining us. No comments, corrections. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the March minutes as written and presented? Is everyone having heat stroke? Is that what's going on?
Joseph gave a thumbs up.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joseph.
Motion.
Thank you. And a second, please. I'll second.
We're moving slow tonight.
Yeah, we are.
Maybe we can just move with is there any
Any
objection?
opposition to accepting those March minutes? Okay, that's a no. And likewise with the June agenda, any additions or corrections to that? Which is actually July 10th agenda for this evening's meeting.
Andy, are you going to add to that?
What am I going to add?
The Estacada? I don't believe that's on there.
You know, I thought I saw somewhere where I could talk about it.
Okay, if there's something
there.
Yeah.
We need to add under new business 4.4 Estacada route changes.
Okay. Great. And is there any opposition to accepting the agenda for tonight's meeting with the addition that Andy just mentioned?
Oops, we lost Chris.
He said he lost audio. He went out and he said
he's back. Okay. He's in the waiting room.
Any opposition to what is now the July 10th agenda for this meeting with the addition of Estacada route updates from Andy? Okay, accepted.
I am texting Bernice what's happening because she can't hear. So before we move forward,
Okay,
okay. She said she's trying. She just can't hear no matter what. Not
Huh.
sure if she has a bad connection, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, city council liaison. I'm guessing we have a new person.
Not as far as I'm aware of.
Okay. So is that on the agenda to,
That's just if they are here, we give them
Got
space
it.
to bring any conversation to the group that they would like to have.
Okay, so now on to new business. Zippity zoop.
Zippity zoop. That's me.
Right, annual audit.
Okay, I am looking for something in my emails that I want to share. Maybe this is it. Nope.
I can't see the
Okay.
what you're going to share, so I can send it information to Bernice.
So first we're going to talk about the triennial audit. Just to give background on what that is for anyone who doesn't know, every 3 years. So if you're a big agency such as TriMet, the federal government comes in and does an audit every 3 years. If you are a small rural agency, ODOT hires a consulting firm and they come in and do the same audit that the feds do for the big guys. For as long as I have been here, they have hired a very well-known consulting firm out of Washington, D.C. So typically a program person, someone who's been in the field running organizations, comes as with a lawyer. So the lawyer is the leader of your audit. And they do go through our files and make sure that we're doing our maintenance on time. They go through MV's employee files, make sure the trainings are what they're supposed to be, that they're documented, that everything's in the file. This particular time, and they do pull random invoices to check, like a typical auditor would do. However, it's 2 days long, and this time they really had more of a overarching view. They want to see all of our policies. They want to see that our policies are in writing. Procurement is a big one. So any projects that involve procurement, they have us show all the steps and documentation that we went through to procure any vehicles, buildings, etc. ADA is also a very big one. They want to make sure that we are compliant with ADA regulations. They walk out into the field, they random sample a couple of buses, they get on the buses, they make sure that you have like your Title VI notices are up if that's in your plan, that your buses are properly working, that they have proper signage, etc. It went very well. And also I should say ODOT also sends their grant compliance program manager and our regional transit, or our regional, what are they called now? RTC, so regional transit coordinator, it also attends. So They ask a bunch of finance questions. They pull some finance documents. We did great. There are some things that, there's one thing in particular that I have never documented that we now need a policy for. And that is before we do a procurement, we need to document that we have conducted an independent cost estimate. So that we've gone out and asked around to see what that cost is before we put the RFP out so that we know what we're looking for or if it's in the right ballpark. We do that because we've already done that to know what we need in grant funding before we do it, but we've never really put in writing that, you know, this firm says it would cost this amount and this firm says it would cost this amount. And then you come back and show that after you have selected your vendor, that whatever they are charging is in line with your independent cost estimate. So just some documentation that you are figuring out what things cost before you go out for the RFP or the RFQ. Otherwise, some very small changes, but one of the things that we do need to put in place that involves you all is that they want our boards to be more informed on our financial standing. Okay. Which makes sense, and I'm sure due to Sunset Empire's you know, sudden stop in service because they just ran out of money and the board had no idea that they were in that situation is probably where that is coming from. And so we will be talking about grant management and financials. I'm going to ask to unmute Bernice's phone.
Thank you.
And we'll do that every meeting. And we had a conversation about city council is our governing body. However, they are not as closely tied to transit as the board. And so they felt like the proper place to present our financial information and keep everyone informed is this board. So I'm going to bore you with some financial information tonight. And I promise going forward, it will be prettier, and I am open to suggestions on how you would like it presented and any particulars that you would like to see or to know. And I guess that moves us into 4.2, right, Muna? That's what 4.2 is.
Sorry, I can't see the.
Oh, grant management and financials.
Yeah.
Yes, that is it.
Okay. So what I did today, and just so that you know, every month, Tyler, who was our finance director and is our city manager and is currently both, sends us a budget to let us know how we're doing, you know, in comparison to how much we've budgeted versus how much we've spent. It's helpful, except that the way our system is set up, it's for 1 year and we budget biannually. And so the percentages are always a little misleading, I feel like. So what I did for this meeting and what I'm going to run us through is I went into our financial software. We use Tyler Technologies, lots of Tylers around here. And I asked it for our financials, and the timing is perfect because it's July. So I just asked for the fiscal year of 2024. And I just went through, and I'm going to share my screen because I figured out how to do that. Okay. It is very, very, very small for me now. So can you guys see this screen and see my cursor? Yeah. Okay. Do I need to make it larger or anything of that sort? No?
I'm gonna have to put my glasses on.
Yeah, put your glasses on. This is a glasses kind of meeting. Maybe I will zoom it in just a little bit. Whoa. It's not what I want to do. That's a little better. Okay, so I am going to try and run through this as quickly as I can. You guys can see my cursor, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so this is our beginning balance, which is about $2 million. Sam has sat on $2 million for a while now. I'm going to format these. All of these that are negative are actually revenue. So in this system, revenue has a negative in front of it. I put this number over here to make it very clear for everyone. And I did not put the negative because I feel like that makes it confusing. Right. So this column, total activity, is what's important, because especially for things like transit tax, and I've hidden all the, we would have 50 pages of transit tax. Transit tax, as you can see here, has what, 272,000 that are debits, and that's because at the end of the year, Tyler has to come in and put them in the correct quarter that they arrived in. So, so in a lot of these, you'll see credits and then debits and total activity. So total activity is what is important. You'll see, so what I did for the first part of our budget is I went through and just said, here is what we actually brought in. So in for fiscal year 2024, we brought in $756,746 in transit tax, which is great. And in our budget, I estimated that we would bring in $898,293. So it's slightly less than I estimated in the budget. I will add, though, that we tend to get a lot of end of year tax information coming in now. So I'm not sure that number won't change. These books have not been locked. For federal grants, we had 568,041 come in. We estimated 669,228, which honestly, in my estimates, all I did was take the biennium and divide it by 2, which is not necessarily accurate, but it saved me time. So also keep in mind with federal grants that we have not been reimbursed for our Q4 spendings yet. So those reports go in they're due by August 15th. So it looks like we have not gotten our federal funding that we expected, but I also haven't put in an entire quarter's reimbursements yet. State grants, we expected 262,918. We got 262,918. We expected 235. So we've gotten more than we expected, which is great. STIF revenue, we have gotten 853,000. We expected 865,000. And other agencies, and I know this looks really big, and I think I'll explain it later. We'll see. We've gotten 8,000, and we expected 123,000. I'll come back to that later. I don't want to bore you, so I will just go and you can see for yourself that Farebox came in higher than we expected or budgeted. Fair Media came in higher than we budgeted. This is our interest. I have to ask Tyler about that. I don't know why we budgeted so low for our interest because we are sitting on a couple $1 million. But 97 seems really high. That's okay. I'll take it.
Yeah. Andy, might that just be an error in period of time? I mean, I know they should be equal, but
you know, it really should be equal. So I'm not sure. I have no idea what that's about,
okay.
to be honest. I've got to check with him. And I've got to look through anyway. I think it actually might be STIF related. We have to report on our STIF income and report our STIF interest separate. So I actually believe it might be STIF related, but I'll find out. Facility and vehicle fees, and I think this is partly why the number above of other agencies is so low compared to what it was budgeted, is it looks like we have, so we budgeted for 8,300. I'm sorry, we brought in 8,300. We budgeted for 26. Sorry, I'll come back to that again. You see below that it's 66,344 as reimbursements.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that a lot of Mount Hood Express payments that should be going into other agencies and or our facilities and vehicle fees is being coded as a reimbursement, is what I believe is happening. So I will dig more into that later, but I'll come back to that in a minute. Interfund loans. So several years ago, I believe in 2018, Sam had about 3 million in our bank, and we had a couple of departments here at the city that needed funding. So Sam loaned the police department and Sandy Net nearly $1 million, and they have been paying us back ever since. So we expected 85,640 in those interfund loan payments, and we have gotten 86,462. Those payments are now pretty low, and I just met with Tyler, who as the new city manager, I believe would like to pay those loans off sooner rather than later. He's proposed it a couple times in the past as the finance director, but he wasn't the city manager. And he also isn't city council. So I can't make any promises that will happen, but Tyler would like to just be done with those transfer payments.
Do you think that's fiscally possible as far as is there funding to do that, Andy?
Yeah, we had a conversation about it and he would move things around. But like I said, the amount is pretty low at this point. And so, yeah, he felt like it was possible, and he will make the argument to try and do it.
Well, we might as well have that funds to be making interest too.
Yeah. You know, when we loaned the money, that was part of the reason that I didn't mind loaning it and agreed to it, is we are earning interest. And so, yeah. You know, okay. And I believe, I can't remember now, but I believe it was for body cams, maybe for the police department, and Sandy Net, it just helped them. I can't remember how. I think they got to pay off a debt that they owed. So this number here is that we received 200,000 less than was budgeted in revenue. Again, this quarter is actually not done. I have not done my federal reimbursements yet. And so that's pretty good. I'm not worried about being 200,000 under. That's the revenue end. I'm gonna go through more quickly because honestly, just stop me if you're like, wait, what is that? I'm gonna go through this salaries. This number is the City of Sandy employees. So that's what the three of us were paid in various ways, including our workman's comp fees, etc. you can see we are, oh, I'm sorry. So this column is the actual, and this is the budgeted again. Well, put it there. So we're doing really well with supplies. We're doing excellent with postage. Not sure what's going on there. Printing, doing great. Branding and marketing, we put 30,000 in the 2-year budget. So we spent a lot of that up front, which we planned to do because a lot of that was marketing for the new route. So, you know, that route launched, and that's a lot of our marketing budget right there. Great with public notices, memberships, right on the money for conferences, training and professional advancement. We tend to add to it in case we end up going over with conferences. Oh, that's why. This one's also high this year because when we come out with electric buses, we have to do a certain amount of training. It's part of the grant that we received. And so we will be doing a lot of training, and we'll be coding it to that line item. So that's part of the reason that is so extremely high. Meeting and meals, we did great. Mileage reimbursement, blah, blah, blah. Fuel came under budgeted. We're pretty high here with vehicle repairs and maintenance. So we will be keeping an eye, and I can tell you that the staff are already kind of digging into that. Tamara's eyes just went up. She knows we've been having this conversation too. Bus shelter maintenance, we went into a new and different contract, and I'm not sure that I had that new. I think we had the budget produced before we went and got a new contract for the bus shelter maintenance. So that is 10,000, and we budgeted 15,000. This number here is what we pay MV. So we are well within our budget. This particular is the fixed routes, and the SAM rides, sorry, are all under this umbrella, and the E&D services are broken out in a different line item. Utilities is really high. We budgeted 10,000. It came in at 43,000. That is because we bought all new tablets, etc., and we put it under this line item. I will probably have a conversation with Tyler to see if we need to correct that and put it under a capital line item so that it's not so wonky here. But I don't think we need to do that, and I'll explain why in a minute. Under budget with insurance, fees were a little high. Nothing that I'm gonna sneeze at by any means. And then we are high here with our E&D services. I'm not sure why. I'm gonna look through. I have a feeling once I look through this, I'm gonna find that there's a Sam Rides under this line item, which I have done many times because I've kind of gone back and forth in my head on whether Sam Rides should be under E&D or not. For those who don't know how public funding works, we are not allowed to spend more than we budget for. You all know that because we drum that message all the time. However, if your overall budget is still okay and you're just over in some line items, then you're okay. And so if you see at the bottom that we have spent 2.2 million and we budgeted 2.9 million. So we are doing really well, even though we are overspent in some categories. And if I can, here's our pretty chart to show. Actually, is there another one? No. That even more important than what was brought in versus what was expended, or what we expected versus what was expended, is that what we brought in is more than what we expended.
Well done, everybody. That's what I have to say.
Now, though, we're going to go down here and we're going to include capital. So that was all operations. This is our capital line items, and it looks a little wonky because down here, we paid for 2 buses at $344,000 plus. We had $294,688 in STIF funding to pay for those buses. So we have a pretty big expenditure in capitals and not a very big revenue in capital. But again, what is really important is the overall congruent with what you're bringing in, and we're only 81,000 off when you include capital. We spent 81,000 more, and again, I haven't put in my federal reimbursements for 3 months. So we're doing awesome. And the main thing that I can say about capital is typically that's where you see us really get lopsided because we have a match, right? And so it looks really wonky when you just look at capital by itself because we're never going to bring in the exact amount of a bus. So we might spend, I don't see it in there, but the 344, if we were using federal funds, we would have paid 20%. So we would not have been, reimbursed that 100% of that amount. So I asked Tyler a couple years ago to add a line item in here called transfer from operations, because our budget reports used to always start with a negative number in capital, and I don't like that because I'm never negative. I've never went under. I've always paid for it out of whether it's out of our reserves or out of our local payroll tax. So we're never negative. So if probably here, we will put in a number that brings that 94,255 number here to equal this number here. Maybe we transfer this STIF to show that we did pay for those vehicles. We did not go in the negative to have those vehicles. But again, overall, the story is for the year, we were 81,000 less than what we brought in. That does not include our almost 2 million beginning funds, and we have not done our federal reimbursements. So we're okay. Now that we've walked through this very lengthy line item, is there a way that you would like this presented? And what information do you feel is important for you to know? If it were me, I would want charts. And then I would want the GL backup that shows that it actually came out of a system and I didn't document it, which is why I ran the GL for you, because I want you to see that this is out of our financial software. But does anyone have a burning desire of what they feel they need to see in these financial reports?
And
no, it sounds good to me.
Okay.
I think to keep it simple is, if we got the whole thing, that way we want to read it in detail, we can do that. But then some type of chart that maybe just pulls out the pieces that members of the committee feel is the most important for us to know. That way it's a quick, easy read. You can look at the chart, and these are the numbers that we definitely want to be tracking as a committee. But then we have the spreadsheet like you are showing us to go into depth detail if we wanted to.
Okay. So it sounds like if I just had a chart that said, here's our revenue, here's our expenses, here's our beginning balance, by the way, which is not included in these. And then here's the GL printout that backs it up.
Maybe on the chart too, when you're doing the beginning budget, the revenue and the expenses, then also have a fourth column that shows what was projected for, say, like that quarter, so that we can see how close we were, or, you know, if we saved bukus of money and we got some wiggle room for the next quarter. Or
Right. That would be great. I think that is like our well, no, I was gonna say, you know, similar to that would be, we have a very big budget right now because of our capital projects that we're moving forward on, but you know, we're not going to actually see that expense or that reimbursement until much later when those electric buses show up. All right. Well, I think I have a pretty good idea then of how I can make this look a lot better and be easier to read. But then also be able to provide you, when I provide you with the actual backup detail, I probably will continue to hide transit tax, for example. I'm not sure that I need to be making it public information what various businesses in town are reporting on their transit tax. I don't think that's appropriate. So I'll probably hide a lot of these actual details and just give you the highlights. All right, great. So be prepared to really know our budget in and out.
Great. And into ridership updates.
Well, ridership is not great. I was looking at ridership overall. We are still hovering at about 70% of pre-COVID numbers, which we've been hovering at for a long time. So Estacada has fallen significantly. I'm pretty sure part of the reason for that is AEC had a couple of commuters from Estacada to Sandy who took the bus every day, and they've gone to work from home. And, you know, a couple of commuters every day, Monday through Friday, is a big, you know, makes a big chunk when it's not, you know, a really robust route anyway. Estacada only has 5 runs Monday through Saturday, which is not enough for people to depend on it. It's really hard to boost ridership when, you know, you've got gaps that are hours wide. So we're going to make some changes to Estacada. I also, Muna, what did our Clackamas Town Center ridership look like this month? I'm a little disappointed in it. It's not bursting at the seams yet.
It is picking up from last month. So April was a great month. I think we had over 300, and then it dipped pretty significantly in May, and we're coming back up now that it's June.
Okay.
I'm hopeful that with school being out, that ridership is going to go really high.
So a couple of things that we did to try and address that is we've been having some bus issues where we kind of had different buses that we were putting on it. And so we are putting the same bus every time on that route. And our next focus of concentration will be getting bus stop signs up, because there aren't signs yet. And that's important. Sometimes, a lot of times I should say, you see a bus go by, but it still doesn't register that there's a bus. So I think bus stop signs are kind of an important infrastructure that shows, hey, there's a bus stop. There's a bus.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's time. We've been up for 6 months. We said, let's give it 6 months, make sure the stops are what we think are good stops. So I think our next step is to start putting those bus stop signs in. I'm debating with myself on whether I just go put them on utility posts that exist, or and ask forgiveness later if that's a bad thing, or if I need to go through the proper steps. So that's where we are on ridership. Again, we're at about 70% continual. I mean, for the past 2 years when I look, we're right at 70% of our pre-COVID numbers, which is a bummer, because pre-COVID we were skyrocketing, and Estacada in particular was really jumping. So now I'm going to tell you what we're going to do to Estacada. We had asked for 2 more runs in FLAP, and as you know, we're not getting that funding, and we won't till October 25th because the federal government made some changes, blah, blah, blah. We know it's awarded, but it's not here. So ODOT stepped in and gave $500,000. Joseph is on the committee, gave $500,000 to Mount Hood Express and Sandy to kind of plug that FLAP hole that we've been experiencing. And so we sat down with the county. We're going to interline a village shuttle and Estacada route. And let me see if I can show you our new schedule. And add 2 runs to Estacada and 2 or 3 to village shuttle in doing that. These are not the exact times, because Tamara is still working on, how to incorporate that into the overall driver schedule. I'm going to share my screen, but you're going to see this over here is me calculating the cost to get what we needed from the county. But this is that would be what we think might be the new schedule. So Estacada would add a 1:30 run and an 8 o'clock run, and the village shuttle would add a 5:15 run and a 9:15 a.m. run. So those are incorporated here and here and here and here. And we are ready to do that whenever the driver schedules are figured out, because it makes it complicated. We're not doing Tamara any favors. Village shuttle. So Mount Hood Express drivers currently also, most of them will do a village shuttle run in between their Mount Hood Express runs. So it sounds like great, we're adding service, but we're breaking up schedules that already exist. Because they won't be able, that village shuttle run is now going to have to be done by an Estacada driver. And so then what do you do with the Mount Hood Express driver, et cetera, and so forth. So we're figuring that out. What we plan to do also in the meantime is make Estacada fareless, because we'll consider this a pilot program. We want to encourage ridership during a pilot program. So we'll we'll make it fareless during the pilot. I haven't really decided how long that fareless or that pilot will be. Village Shuttle just went fareless, period. So it's actually good for us to go fareless, and that way, you know, it's not, oh, I forgot I need $1 when I'm on SAM, etc. It's definitely not a permanent change. That is something that City Council would have to approve. But we can waive it for a while, just while people get used to this new route.
So let me ask this. The Village Shuttle fareless status is not considered temporary pilot, just the Estacada? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
The Village Shuttle went fareless a couple months ago. And permanent, I think.
And I didn't hear you. Maybe you already said it, but we are also adding Sunday.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I did not say that. So the Village Shuttle runs Monday through Sunday, so Estacada will run Monday through Sunday. So we will be adding 2 runs, and we will be adding Sunday. We actually used to interline, and Julie Stevens, I had lunch with her today, and she reminded me of this when I was telling her our changes. We did interline with Village Shuttle in the past, and we did have several commuters who would commute from the mountain down to Estacada and then into Portland. I did disrupt that when I made changes to Estacada and changed some of the times, etc. So maybe we'll get some of those back too. So that's our very exciting news for Estacada. I'm hoping that gets ridership up, because honestly, I feel like if ridership doesn't increase, we need to look at some more serious service. Not cuts. I'm not talking about cuts.
Okay, good.
But just, you know, where is our ridership? How can we better serve our community? What do they need? What needs to look different? Maybe doing the same thing we've always done is not cutting it. I do feel like we need to up our Sunday service. We've had 8 runs on Sunday for a very long time. So probably in our next STIF plan, I will use STIF funding to make Sunday look like Saturday, and we'll run every hour. Maybe Saturday needs to look like a weekday. I don't really know. Maybe we need to cut our morning hours instead of having half-hour headways to hour headways and move some of that service somewhere else. I don't really know, but again, I don't plan on cutting service, but we might need to move it around to meet the needs. And that probably would need to be a pretty big public outreach endeavor to find out what they need and what. Our shopper shuttle's great. Our shopper shuttle gets ridership. Everybody loves the trolleys. I think if we had drivers, Tamara can correct me, but I think if we had more drivers, then we would probably be adding a little more SAM rides and elderly and disabled rides, ed rides.
My suggestion would be to add it to the Clackamas if we have more drivers.
Add hours to Clackamas. Yeah, Clackamas definitely needs it. So yes, thank you for that. Clackamas needs it. Again, Clackamas is just like Estacada, that we've got like, you know, 6 runs, and it's hard to depend on a bus that runs 6 times. If you miss it, another one's not coming for 2.5 hours. And you're stuck an hour from your destination, which sucks. Pardon my French on video.
So question, Andy, and that is regarding the changes in the Estacada route now in adding the runs and also going fareless. How do we get the word out to the current and potential ridership? Yes, we can have onboard notices and so on, but how do we make that improvement, really known to potential riders?
So Muna just reached out to Estacada. Muna, I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can I jump in? So we actually work with Estacada and their newsletter, which is in their water bills. So it goes out to the majority of people. And they have both a physical one and an electronic one. And I have recently partnered with their community center. So I'll be working with them to make that information. And then again, the library, and then there's also the food bank.
Yeah.
So we have several places that we can really advertise that.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of support. I was on the transportation committee, and there's a lot of people that really support public transportation. So there are probably, and I haven't reached out to them yet, but that's a thought, to reach out to the local businesses that support that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well,
and
like the chamber.
yeah, and the ant farm,
Mm-hmm.
because they're out here as well.
Yeah. I'm wondering also about the harvest market.
They would likely be very supportive. And the school, that's another thing that we can make note to the school, because they have reached out to us before saying we need.
Yeah.
So.
Cool.
Yeah, so we need to drum up support and get the information out there, just like our last conversation about Clackamas Town Center and taking brochures with you and putting them in businesses, and that would be a great board activity, just to help us just be an ambassador of our services. Did you know this is out there? And I know you guys do that in your daily, but maybe an extra, if you're in Estacada, take some schedules, with you and put them in businesses. Or do we have them in the library?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We also actually distributed them to, I believe it's Love One. They come in and they provide the services like showers and whatnot.
Oh, right.
Distribute them as well.
Great.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I am hearing most everything.
Great.
I'm curious about one thing. Do you have an advertising promotion budget?
Yes.
To cover promotion when, in these situations?
Yeah, so our advertising budget for the biennium was about 30,000, and we've spent about 20,000 already. That includes our normal things that we do, like if we buy t-shirts, if we buy things for the drivers, goes in that. So that's honestly a pretty big chunk there too. We are putting banners on the trolley for the parade. It encompasses a lot more than just print ads or digital ads, but we ran a lot of digital and print ads around the holidays when we were launching our new route.
Okay. Would you ever look at the advertising promotion budget and say, maybe we need more? Is that a possibility? Or are you comfortable with what we have now?
We actually increased it a lot. I think it used to be 10 or 15,000. We took it up to 30,000. City Council had actually asked us to increase our marketing for the trolley and the shopper shuttle. We still did have a city council member ask us about that big of a marketing budget. They were like, that's a lot of trinkets, which I get, if that's what they think a marketing budget is, I get it. But it was actually it was one of their goals for us, was to market our services. So we could look at increasing it again. We can't for the next year. So we only have about $10,000 for the next year. But we could look at it. So SandyNet just put out their first ad on Facebook. and they seemed pretty impressed by the capabilities of Facebook. So we might want to look into doing that as well. And then I don't know if you guys are aware, and this is actually kind of fun and exciting if you don't know, but Parks and Rec hired a company who tracks people by their cell phones. And so Heather rolls her eyes. And so they're supposed to also get data to us about when people get off of the buses, where do they go? Or, what patterns exist with people's cell phones on the buses? Like what are those movements? And that could help us kind of hone in on some advertising as well. Like where do we need to make sure we have the information? Although we really want those people who aren't already on the bus. But yes, Bernice, we could definitely look at that because like I said, we've already spent $20,000 of our $30,000 budget.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you.
One question I have, another one is, what's the story with Mount Hood Forest headquarters, Estacada and Sandy offices? And there was that whole, is either one populated by staff or what's the story?
No. Mount Hood Forestry Building is rented again. I think by Mount Hood Forest. I know they were going to sell it. Somebody bought it. Yamashita was the city manager at the time. She was like, oh my gosh, that would be perfect. But somebody had already bought it.
Mm-hmm. I'm also wondering for Estacada, and Muna, you know the dates better than I do, but the Timber Festival and, the art back and projects and everything, or activities affiliated with the Timber Festival and the Arts Festival, which is this month, I believe. Has it already happened?
So interesting. I actually recently looked at the Timber Festival. I couldn't find an update from their meeting. Let me pull up. I have a newsletter, an Estacada newsletter.
That's a great idea. What if we should really promote going to those festivals on the bus, just like we do our local events, which are actually really picking up as far as ridership when we put those out there.
Good. Well, and it gives people that live firsthand experience of, oh, wow, the bus is clean and it's not populated by serial killers and, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, sorry, TriMet, you guys get the bad, reputation that kind of trickles down to us.
Well, and that's like the comments and wonders that I sent to you, Andy and Muna and Nancy, I think all three of you, when this is several months ago now, but when City Council had the impression of, why do you want to add another line and, this and that if it could indeed be totally erroneous perception regarding safety of our vehicles, personal safety for riders on our routes.
Yeah.
I don't see anything about the Timber Festival. I will dig into that some more. And I haven't heard anything about the art one either. So I'm going to have to, that's really interesting. The only thing I've seen is they have the Oktoberfest coming. And I'm not sure that they didn't combine that with the arts and just do one event. They used to do like a wine event, and then they had the art thing separately. And I think they may have kind of combined that into Oktoberfest. But I will get some solid information on that so we can do some promotions for that.
Yeah, and I'm sure you have connections, but two connections that would give you some right in there information would be the Spiral Art Gallery.
Yes.
And then of course Jordan Winthrop.
Okay, great.
And if we did, well, even if we didn't do ads, I'd also suggest, if we don't have it there already, but the Estacada Locals Facebook page is very, very active. And that would be, again, if we're not already doing it, but that would be a great place to post about added runs, even just basic educational posts regarding, did you know that there's transit from Estacada to, CCC and Sandy, and what that connects you to, and that type of thing. And it would put some good positive info there, because we gotta get to the people that are potential riders, and there's a lot of, interaction on that page.
Yeah. Okay. Muna, are you on that page?
I am. I'm on a couple of pages, so I will definitely put some things out there.
Great. Is that what we've got for ridership, Andy?
That's it.
Okay. Miss Tamara, GM operations update.
We're still, as always, hiring drivers. We've had several pass their CDLs, and I have 2 in class, 3 in class right now. Getting ready to pass their CDLs. I've also been able to find some school bus drivers that are transitioning over to drive for us, which I'm really excited about. One was a school bus driver, and she also drives for TriMet. She's coming on as part-time, but when I talked to her last night, she's encouraging her son to apply to drive for us. So lots of hopes that have more people coming in. One thing I wanted to suggest that we may want to consider is, because I've worked dispatch, as I was doing earlier today, and one thing I wanted to suggest is maybe possibly to stop taking reservations at 5 for the next day, because it's really hard to schedule trips, until 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and still make sure that they have a good ride for the next day, and it's not cramming up the schedule. So that was the one thing I was going to suggest. But other than that, like I said, we're focusing on safety. There is an exciting new program that MV has put out that's challenging. It's only for the West Coast. That's challenging all the divisions to focus on safety. And we're sort of competing with each other. And if we win for the quarter, we can win $2,000 for the quarter that we can use for the division for the drivers, however we see fit. So, like having a picnic, buying things for the break room, things to reward the drivers for a good job. So lots of good things that are happening, and to keep up morale and to encourage more people to come work for us. So, and one thing that was mentioned, because I also have some drivers that drove for TriMet, and I have some drivers that were considering going to TriMet. And when the one driver who formerly was with TriMet, she says, you need to understand that Sandy is kind of like the country club of public transit, which I thought was a really good compliment. It's like, yeah, because I've worked in medium-sized transit agencies, and yeah, we can do things a little more laid back and differently because we don't have all the stress that the larger places have. So
that is great to use as part of your recruiting ad campaign, Tamara.
Yep. Exactly, and that's what I tell other drivers when they come in. Says we're a little more laid back. We're don't have as many routes, but we're kind of like the country club. We have a nicer quality of passenger, so than TriMet.
I mean, I see that as like a one-liner tagline.
So
that's a great ad, and I do want to. Tamara has not given herself enough credit, because I noticed as I went into the dispatch office, each driver has a cubby hole, and she has hired so many drivers that we have run out of cubby holes, and we are now using a file folder for the newer drivers. That is not anything I've ever seen in the entire time I've been there. So I just really want to commend her. She has worked incredibly hard to make sure we are fully staffed, and I think I think we've maybe missed one run out of both services in the last 6 months. 4 months. But she's doing a wonderful job. So
yeah, they told me I need to stop hiring drivers because we're running out of mailboxes. Like, no, we can get more mailboxes. No, that's not a reason to not hire people.
We need the peeps.
Yes.
Yeah.
All
Anything
right,
else tomorrow?
Good
No.
job.
No. Thank you.
Old business, capital projects, please.
All right, guys. We're at 30% design. I'm very excited to show you this. Dun, 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 dun. Here is our new maintenance bay at 30% design. 2 drive-in bays. This is actually where we currently are. So you will walk out of this admin building into this building. This is the driver's hub. Dispatch is over here so they can watch the vehicles. Tamara has her own office over here. I believe, let's see if I can. This is all very boring. Get to the good stuff. We added, okay, here we go. So if you walk in the front door, this is the driver's kitchen area. This is the driver's hub, which will hold everything that they need. This is Tamara's office. This is the dispatch. These are whoever needs to have them, whether that's an operations manager, a road supervisor, etc. This is the break room. This is a little bit old. After we had a meeting, I've made changes to this, but this is our training room. We have taken this janitor's closet and moved it over here, and we're getting rid of this closet so that this is all one big area, and this will become a door that can, a wall that can open, so that this entire area could be used if needed. If you come over here, this is 2 restrooms. This is a mechanic's restroom because it was mentioned that mechanics are very dirty and often should like to be separate from the rest of the drivers, etc. This is the mechanic's office right off of the bays where they will be working. These stairs are to a storage area upstairs for parts, and there will be a machine that gets those down for you. This has kind of been changed. They're saving us some money, but this is where the very loud compressors and oil drums, etc., will be housed, and they will be housed on the outside. Which allows trucks to come in and vacuum out that area. We already over here at the wash bay have trucks that vacuum out the vault for the dirty water. You can enter the restrooms from the outside so that you don't have to come into the main building. And then we added a 2nd floor because if you're going to dream big. We've made changes to this. The new changes are there is now going to be a restroom up here as well. The conference room, which is here, gets moved over here because this is where the windows are, and these will be 3 offices. Then there are also, and I don't have it pulled up, so I won't bore you with it, but also about $200,000 of changes that will be made to this building, turning things like our copier room here will be turned into an office. Our archive room will be turned into an office. Transit will still be on this side of the building. A wall will go in here for this conference room. And we get a new updated kitchenette because all of those lockers will be pulled out into the operations bay. So I had a meeting yesterday with our architect design team, and the idea is we are including all of those things in the 30% design. We will start using that to go out for grants. And then, you know, if we can't find the funding, right now it's at about $4 million, and that's without equipment in the, such as lifts, etc., in the 2 bays, which I'm guessing is probably 400 to 500,000 on top of. You know, then we start lopping things off. We start taking out walls, or we start not, you know, then we don't have a second floor. But, you know, let's plan for 20 years from now. Maybe we can get the funding. But here we go.
Cool.
So that's it. That is where we are. Oh, you know, actually, we also, just so you guys know, started fueling on site. I'm not sure that we made you all aware of that. PW has a pilot project, and it's temporary, but if it works out, it will become permanent. We have not started fueling Mount Hood Express here yet, but we are fueling all SAM vehicles here. Did that start in June, I think?
Yes.
Yeah. And so far, all's well. As far as I know, Tamara, have you heard any different? I mean, other than they got rained on, so we need to get a cover for them. But
Yeah, yeah, it's been working out really well, and yeah, other than the rain, it's been really good. And I think it really showed the other night when Mount Hood Express had to go to the other pilot station. So yeah, I'm happy because it's less deadhead time. I like
exactly. That. Just come back to base. Yeah. We had a couple of incidents last month where Mountain Express had to go fuel in Gresham because these pumps are down, which happens more than we would like. And I was very happy that our drivers were not driving to Gresham to fuel and then come back. So hopefully it will cut down on that deadhead time.
Well, and also, won't it be much more fiscally responsible too?
Yep, we are saving money doing it. I can't remember what the amount is. It's not huge, but even more importantly, it makes us sustainable, so that if there is an event, that gas station is very old. We can still be operating here and filling our own vehicles and not dependent on, you know, an outside gas station.
Yeah.
And I guess the final thing I want to say is anyone going to be on the trolley tomorrow during the parade?
What time
you don't have to, but you are invited.
What time is the roundup?
I believe we're 6:30. Does the parade start at 6:30?
The parade starts at 7. I think that we should probably head there around 6. My thought was we should just put up the banners when we got there, so we don't have to worry about them flying off while we're driving. But yeah, 6. The trolley has to be there around 3:30, I believe.
And where are we going to be located with the trolley to start?
Strawbridge, I think. We're spot 56.
We are. It's not a very detailed map, so I can't really tell you exactly where it's at. Just that it'll be spot 56.
Okay.
Roxy and Joseph have done it for a couple of years.
I'll check with her tonight and see if she wants to. With the temperatures up so high this week, it's been bugging her asthma, so I don't know that she will, but I will check with her. And If she says yes, I'll get her to text you or Muna, and we'll get it coordinated.
Great.
That is probably something to be mindful, because I believe it's gonna hit 90, and it's a good hour plus of heading up the road. So
At a snail's pace. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be hot. It's gonna
But
be
we
hot.
do have AC in the trolley.
you do, but it's
Yes, but the windows are down because you're throwing candy, so you won't feel it.
Yeah. And also consider too, is the air quality is very, very poor right now.
it is. That
Yeah.
is the point. So, but we welcome you guys, but just want to put out those cautions, because obviously we don't want anybody to suffer.
Yeah, so just let us know.
Hey, neighbor updates?
They did not send any updates over. So I've already told you Village Shuttle went fareless. That we're interlining Village Shuttle and Estacada. There haven't really been any changes to Mount Hood Express. We are in conversations about changing some things though. Christina and I are meeting weekly now for 30 minutes on Wednesdays. I think that's probably all of their updates. I'm gonna mute myself real quick because Layla's called me 6 times.
Okay, I don't think we have any public comments, do we, Muna or Nancy?
We do not.
One point I would like to ask about, are we doing anything, let's say during the week starting, it's Friday, but anything to honor, commemorate, and note the ADA anniversary on July 26th? Might be something we can just at least put in a post.
Definitely.
On social media. Yeah.
We can make some mention.
And Heather, I could email Muna and get her to share it with the committee. But part of my job is doing the ADA celebration each year with the Oregon Disabilities Commission. Yeah. We are still sticking to it being virtually. And we did our first session yesterday, but we have 3 more throughout the month. And so anybody that's interested can register and join us. It's on Tuesdays from 11:30 to 1 p.m.
Oh, fantastic.
Great. I'm just thinking about, you know, certainly our ridership, who are able to ride thanks to ADA.
100%.
And just the inclusivity of noting and honoring that date, and you know, thanking them for riding with us. And we're glad that we can provide that service.
That's great.
And it might even educate and inform riders who or non-riders who you know, don't know that our vehicles are ADA accessible.
That's a good idea. It's a very good idea.
It's also because of the Americans with Disabilities Act. That's why that all buses are wheelchair accessible. That's why when you go to the grocery store, you have curb cuts. So not only is it easier for you to bring your cart in, people with wheelchairs have accessibility to it. ADA did so much to open up the entire world to people that without it, they were just stuck at home.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And if you've not seen it yet, a few years ago, there was a documentary on Netflix, and it's still there, called Crip Camp. And it talks about the Section 504, which led into the development of the ADA, and how a lot of advocates took over a federal building for, I think, almost 2 months to prove that they have civil rights like anybody else. And so really good documentary to watch, especially around the time of the anniversary.
I agree. It's a great, great film. And that could even be, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it'd be appropriate for us to mention it, you know, in our, well, I think it would be, maybe to make note of it in a post that we put out there.
What was it called again?
It's Crip Camp, C-R-I-P.
Okay.
And then Camp, C-A-M-P. So Crip coming from crippled. Yeah, great film. I'm glad you mentioned that, reminded us of that, Joseph.
I'll have to watch it.
Anything else? We have arrived at our end of agenda, as well as on time at 7 o'clock. Okay, thanks for everyone for participating, being here, and for your input and comments, updates, etc. And we'll
Yes, thank you, everyone. Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
And then our next meeting will be in October.
September.
Yes,
let me.
Yeah, sorry. Yep.
I'm gonna look it up really quick.
And then the transportation conference is in October.
Yeah,
So,
right.
We are scheduled for October 18th. So
18,
it'll be
yeah.
third work week as planned. And let me just look at December really quick. Okay, it looks like the 18th of December is the last meeting of the year, which should work out fine. So we'll stay with the third. I know we changed it a couple of times because it was so close to Christmas, but we should be good with the 18th, I think.
So you're saying we'll have that being our last meeting for this year, then having our meeting in January?
No, so we'll do a meeting in March. So we'll do December 18th, and then our next meeting will be March.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry, thought you were talking about September 18th. So
no, oh, sorry.
Okay,
no.
Got
so
it.
September 18th and December 18th is why that's probably the. So
got it. Yeah.
I just wanted to check ahead because I know we changed the December meeting in the past. So I thought, well,
right.
Out there if we need to look at the date now, because sometimes it conflicts for people if we wait to, you know.
Right.
So, but it looks like the third week looks good for both of those.
Okay, meeting is adjourned unless there's anything from anyone else.
Nope, everything's good.
Thanks,
Right.
everybody.
Yeah, stay cool, stay safe, y'all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, team.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.